Good Friday afternoon. Got to turn it on my
Hey,
mic here. There you are.
there I am.
Oh, there's the right microphone and everything. Okay, good. How is
Look at
everybody
me.
doing today? Man, you have that cool microphone that comes now up from the bottom.
Yeah, so no view obstructed too much.
Not for you. It does sound weird though. See, but my microphone's right there. So whatever. That's a problem for me, I guess. How's everybody doing today? It's been a crazy day already, and it's not even started really for me yet, and that's a bad thing. Very bad thing. So, by the way, if you don't know who we are, my name is Darren Pope. This over here is Victor Farsick, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And today, we call this show DevOps Paradox Live because we do it, live. And we'll see how it goes from there. Vladislav, welcome back. It's been a while. Good to see you live.
Hey, Vlado.
Vaden, how you doing, man? Let's just get into it because there's a lot of information today. And some may be a little head-scratching. I'll put it that way. Another is somebody needs to go buy drinks. Oh, drinks. See what I did there? Get your drink. It's Friday. And it's always water for me. So, are we ready? Are we ready? Let me get turned around here. There we go. Simplifying microservice development. This came out of a question that Stefan had put over in the Slack workspace, and we attempted to answer it. I don't even remember what we said today. Totally breaking fourth wall right now. I just got off of an email thread about 5 seconds before we went live, so my brain is still closing out from that. Simplifying microservice development. Oh, I remember what it was. How do we run the whole of AWS on our laptops? I guess Victor's ignoring me now too. That's fine. He's doing emails now too. We're doing a live stream.
Exactly.
That's fine. So Victor, you and I decided that you can run everything that runs on AWS and on your MacBook M1, right? It all fits. Everything is fine.
I'm getting confused. Why would anybody do that?
That was the podcast this week. Pay attention.
Yeah, still don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay. Anyway, podcasts come out on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern. Sorry, this is a little fragmented today. We're both sort of disconnected. Are we both together now? I think we are. I know I am. I'm back.
I mean, no more emails, I promise.
Okay, no more emails. Promise. Well, so could you really promise me that you won't do any more emails if you got an extra $523 or $530 million? Could you do that?
Oh, man. I would do it for 2% of that.
2% of that. That would be okay, right?
Yeah, I would be completely fine. I'm not a greedy person, man.
Yeah, just 2%. Congratulations to Snyk on doing a raise of $530 million. I did see one this week, though, that was a multi-billion-dollar raise. Money is crazy right now. We know quite
especially
a few people.
security. Kind of like security
Yeah.
is getting all the money now.
Yeah. And that's good. So congratulations to Patrick and all of our other friends over at Snyk. I think Patrick's still there. I hope Patrick's still there since you just said his name.
Last time I checked, he was.
Yeah, he was. So, but 530 billion at 8.5 or 530 million at a 8.5 billion valuation. We can now stop going to Taco Bell and we can now start going to Chipotle. Right? That's the kind of money that is. This still isn't fine dining. We're not to the white tablecloth though yet. We're getting close, but we're not there yet. This is Chipotle money. Okay. Anyway, congratulations to crew there. And one of our former guests got acquired. I'm saying they got acquired. I don't know. Okay, Nimbella. So this was Roderick. I should have looked up what episode he was on. But they got rolled into DigitalOcean. And they're going to now have a serverless offering.
I guess that DigitalOcean is realizing what everybody else is realizing, that compute is commodity. There is no money in compute anymore. You need to provide services if you want to continue earning money. Otherwise, you're in commodity business, and that won't end up good. Well,
One word, Walmart.
exactly.
You don't want to be the Walmart of IaaS, I don't think. Because we already have 3 of those, right? There's actually more than that.
Yeah.
There's 3 in the US.
3 what?
3 IaaS. I'm saying AWS, GCP, and Azure, right? Those are
Exactly.
Those are the Walmarts of the world, or the Walmarts of the US, I should say, and mostly the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was still kind of like split that into compute. So if when you say AWS, if you mean ECS, nobody cares anymore. There is no money in it. There is no business in it, and so on and so forth. Now, if you talk about services, that's a different category.
Yep. So congratulations to our friends at Nimbella. I don't know that it's an exit, but it's a good acqui-hire if nothing else. And it gets DigitalOcean moving without having to build it themselves.
Exactly.
In case you don't remember what Nimbella was about, it's basically OpenWhisk. Yes, OpenWhisk was it.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So moving on from DigitalOcean to a piece I saw from Linode this week. Stay free and open with Multicloud. And the headline caught me. Because we all think Multicloud. But this is a very interesting article, and the links for everything today will be down in the description probably sometime on Saturday, so that will be tomorrow if you're watching live. And this is talking about, and I just thought it was funny, what really caught me was the alternative cloud trademark. I was like, what the heck is alternative cloud? And based on all of this stuff, the Hashi survey that just came out, more than 76% of enterprises have already adopted a multi-cloud strategy. We've talked about multi-cloud, right? If you're using GitHub and you're using AWS, you're multi-cloud, right?
Correct.
And
even if you limit cloud to only to providers, there is almost no significant company that is not using at least 2.
Yeah.
Now, it might be completely something silly in the second one. It might not be even big, but it's still 2 cloud providers. Big ones are used in almost every company. And then you add the GitHubs and other clouds on top of that, and the number is significant.
So they were going through and talking about this alternative cloud thing, and just going through, and of course, obviously they're pushing Linode harder here, but like a use case of to where Linode has their object store as S3 compatible. Well, now I can move things from S3 to wherever because, an open API, people doing the same thing the same way, just different implementation under the hood. And I, as user, don't care.
Exactly.
So, and then it gets down to the bottom of this. So this is a fairly short article, but this fit was an interesting one. The big 3 hyperscale providers prioritized volume and scale. They often aren't the best fit for a smaller organization or hobbyist developer. Right?
I like how I'm seeing the same type of messaging in other small providers. I think that they're starting to make that chasm between big guys and small guys. I think that they gave up on the idea of trying to convince anybody of significant size to use Linode, DigitalOcean, and others. It's kind of like, okay, so our market is really with small guys only. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just recognizing that we are not entering the same ring, into the same ring with the AWS and others, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like being a boxer, heavyweight, and what's the other
flyweight.
Name?
Yeah, a flyweight or featherweight. Yeah.
Featherweight, exactly.
Flyweight, that's something else. So anyway, good article. I liked it. Makes me think of why do I keep going to AWS just because? Right? I should look at other things just because. Mainly because I already have my credit card on account there and I don't have my credit card on account anywhere else. I think that's probably it.
Yeah, but assuming that you're talking in this specific case about some demos or tryouts you're doing and experimentations, hey, any of those, Linode, Civo, DigitalOcean, they will last you for a couple of months for free to begin with.
Right. You brought up Civo, so you're talking Kubernetes. Yesterday, or Wednesday, I think it is now, EKS Anywhere is now GA. We knew it was coming, right? Now are you laughing? I can't tell if you're laughing or not. Here's the interesting thing.
Laughing.
You're not laughing.
Yes.
So
not
yet. So you can run it anywhere using vSphere today, and it's specifically, I believe, vSphere 7. That's day one type GA stuff. That's okay, right? But including bare metal coming in 2022. So now that means bare metal wise, we're looking at Rancher and EKS, right? Besides kubeadm.
Yeah.
I'm leaving K0S and K3S out of that conversation for the moment, right? Just a little bit different use case. Is this a big deal?
It is a big deal. It's just that I think it's important to look at motivations. I think that AWS motivation is not for you to run EKS on-prem or anywhere else. It's just to do it temporarily until you move to AWS fully. So it's a migration strategy, let's say.
It is a migration strategy, but looking at the blog post that they also had with us on the 9th, which was yesterday, what's interesting is now you can also run it locally. You can run a single node EKS Anywhere. And I unfortunately have not had time to get it completed yet, but I did get it installed.
But okay, explain to me why.
Why?
Yeah.
It's a mental game. If I'm running my application on EKS Anywhere locally on my machine, it should magically run inside of EKS Anywhere or EKS inside of AWS.
Yeah, but
right?
For local development, any Kubernetes cluster should do. Like somebody would need to convince me that there is a compelling reason for me to run it locally beyond it is going to be exactly the same as EKS running somewhere else, which to begin with, it's not going to be true anyway, right? So your local Kubernetes cluster is not going to be the same as production cluster. And that's okay because it's a local development cluster. And if it's not going to be the same, then why is this better than kind K3D, minikube, whatever?
Okay. Again, I'm not going to argue with you on this at this point. I'm just saying that if I know that I've got EKS Anywhere running locally, I can be assured that it's going to run on any of the EKSs. Mentally, marketing-wise, it's a warm and fuzzy feeling. The other thing that they did say here, there was one other thing I saw in this blog post, and now I don't remember where I saw it. It might have been... We're talking about vSphere today. It may have been another piece of documentation I looked at. But anyway, now you can run EKS locally. So you don't need minikube, you don't need kind. Now you can just run EKS. Should you? If you listen to Victor, the answer is no.
No, I'm not saying actually no. I'm just saying I haven't tried it yet. Maybe there is a good reason.
Yeah.
It needs to be a good reason. That's
well... And this is the key part. Vladislav says, especially if they support it, right? And they will be supporting it. That's sort of the key part here. It says it right here. By default, Anywhere uses BottleRocket to give you a secure blah, blah, blah with full AWS support. Now, that doesn't mean that you can call them up, but...
That's a reason then. Then kind of like... then that's a compelling thing. Hey, we have somebody. We have one more thing that is supported in our stack, even if it's for local development. Then that makes perfect sense. Basically, then we're entering into the same game as why people buy Docker Desktop, right? Apart from being forced to in certain cases.
It's interesting you brought up Docker Desktop. We'll get to that again in a few moments.
Before we leave this, there is one thing that I must stress. I like the name EKS Anywhere. I know immediately what it is. This is a message to Google folks. Come on, Antos. Nobody still knows what Antos is. At least figure out the naming that would indicate what something is.
That was also, I didn't know where you were going to go with that. Does this open the door for Microsoft and Google to produce their own local distros? And should they?
Yeah, I mean, in case of Antos, I'm not sure because I don't think that Google is forcing GKE that much. Antos is more like a management layer of, you could theoretically use different Kubernetes distributions as far as I know. And Azure, I have no idea.
Okay. It just seems like this could be the first shot fired of forcing the others to ship their own as well. I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice. But anyway, that's EKS Anywhere. One of the other things that got a lot of news this week was this. Did you see the news around this?
Around not accepting pull requests to Terraform?
Yeah.
I think that too much fuss was created for nothing over there, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Gee, you think so? Look, it's 2021. This being the thing we won't name, has been going on for 18 months. People are changing jobs left and right, including from big companies. It's a matter of not having enough people to do the work, right? That's what it boils down to.
Or I would say slightly differently. I mean, I know that officially it's kind of not enough people to do the work.
Yeah.
But I would say it's about prioritization, right? You never have enough people to do the work, right? It's about prioritization. HashiCorp, from my perspective, obviously wants to prioritize internal development and whatever the roadmap is, which we don't know about for Terraform. And realistically, that does not affect users really much because most of the vast majority of contributions go to modules, not to core, right? So we're talking about not about affecting Terraform core only. People think kind of the Terraform. No, it's not Terraform. I mean Terraform core, but that's really it's not a big deal. Not almost nobody contributes there either. Anyways.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I mean, it was like it wasn't that big of a deal, and then it got blown out of proportion, I think. But
yeah.
But it also says, we apologize for any confusion the initial communication caused. Okay, they were just trying to get something out, right? Which is, sometimes you mess up and say the wrong things. I've never done that. Ask my wife. She will correct me very fast on that. What is up, Moz? So anyway, but HashiCorp is hiring, right? They even say that down here. It's like, hey, if you want to join us, we welcome you as well. So there you go.
If you want to join us, too much to pull requests.
Wouldn't be the most horrible gig, right? I mean, could be interesting.
But there is a tiny problem, and this is a problem that really everybody is having the same problem. It's how do you scale your operations based on open source projects by allowing others to become privileged users in your repo? Because that's the real deal. Because when HashiCorp says we are not merging any more pull requests, that what they really want to say is that all the merges are being done, or the approvals are being done by our employees, and we don't have time for that, which is normal. There is nothing abnormal there. The part that is not necessarily good is that there are no people outside of HashiCorp with privileges to do those things. That's the real issue there.
Right. And that's okay, right? I
Depends really how you look at open source, right? Whether it's you can connect that hey, Terraform is not in any foundation that, as far as I know, right? So it's a type of open source project that is under tight control of a specific company. Again, that's not necessarily bad, but just shines a bit of light on how Hashi works, right?
Yeah, and that was the choice that they made and the direction they went, and there's nothing
Yep.
wrong with that, right? That's completely fine. I mean, there are other people that have open source projects that I can think of one, and it's just a guy that has an open source project. He does not allow pull requests. None. Right?
There you go.
It's completely open sourced. He works at his own pace. You can't open issues. You can't open pull requests. Period. But it's open source. Do with it what you want. There's all sorts of different ways.
Exactly. It's up to whomever starts the project or maintains the project to decide how it operates, and it's up to users to decide whether that fits their needs or doesn't.
Yep.
As easy as that.
Fitting a user's needs. You couldn't have set this one up any better for me. Thank you so much. Hermit. Have you heard of Hermit?
Yeah, it looks familiar. I haven't tried it. I know that much for sure.
Okay, so I saw this when I was doom scrolling through Twitter the other day, and I run across James Strachan's post on this. And basically, it gives you the ability, and this sort of animated thing shows it best, is, okay, I type Go version, it doesn't find Go, I'm doing Node version, nothing's found. I CD into my project, or I'm cloning the project and I CD into it. And from this point, because it sees it as a Hermit job, it's got Go already inside the project. And it's got Node inside the project. So instead of making sure that a certain machine, think CI for the moment, that a CI machine has the exact version of something that you need, and you can't do a container right now. Right? This is sort of the answer to, I need a version on the fly.
Yeah.
This is a way to do it. So I think this is super cool. I've actually forked. The way it works is they have two repositories. They've got obviously the source code for it, but then they have this concept of packaging, and it's just HCL files that define where the files are kept. The binaries are kept to do the installations. And then when you start up your project, you basically do a Hermit init. So you need Hermit on wherever you're starting the thing. But when you do a Hermit init, it actually puts Hermit inside of your project. So then from that point forward, everything just happens within the project. So this is one thing I'm actually working on right now. I've got a video for this coming out in probably 2 weeks, not next week, but week after next. Because I just started writing it today. About Hermit. Yeah, Hermit. I'm doing Hermit with Jenkins.
Oh, nice.
So this
for two reasons.
Okay. Number
First,
one, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, I was about to put notes to myself. Try it out. Now I don't have to. And when I say try it out, I mean kind of potentially.
You'll still do it.
Some material.
Well, see, I don't know if it's going to fit as well in a containerized environment. I mean, I could see a use case.
Well, you will let us know, right? That's the point.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing containers yet, but I guess I am now. My first pass isn't containers though, just because I tend to stay out of containers a lot, sort of on purpose still, because there are still people that don't use containers. A lot of people. So I still have to think of the classical ways. It's sort of like a fine wine, I guess, right? It's aged, meaning old. But this is pretty cool. Now, let me warn you on something here. Let's scroll down here. You see this get started, right? Unless you're looking really close, do you see that little gray box that's behind get started?
Yeah, somehow, yeah.
I tell you what, I was trying to find the documentation on this thing and could never find the docs until I finally for whatever reason, my mouse passed over. It's like, oh, this is a button, get started. Now I know what to do, because with this being black on white in the middle with a bunch of other headings, it just didn't stand out enough for me.
Yeah, that looks like a heading for what's below. As if,
Yeah.
why do I need it? Example and quick start are actually getting started.
Yeah, so if you look into Hermit, oh, and by the way, this is from the people at Cash App. I'm not sure if Cash is international or not, but Cash was purchased by Square, which is, the card swipe people. So this is actually open source from Cash App. So, and that's Hermit. And all right, this is the next one here. Colima. We were talking about Docker Desktop earlier. This is Docker and Kubernetes on Mac OS with a minimal setup.
Okay, I'm curious now.
So the prereqs are you have to install Lima, Docker, and kubectl.
Okay, yeah.
Brew install. And then you run Colima, which is in this repo here. Right? And it's tagged. Yesterday was the release, most recent release. And you say Colima version and bang. So you say Colima start, it starts and sets up Docker by default, and then you can use Docker client on Mac OS after Colima start with no additional setup. If you want Kubernetes, you start it with Kubernetes. This is basically a very small portion of what Docker Desktop is. And this is the key part. It's a very small part of Docker Desktop.
I mean, realistically, depends how small it is, but as long as I have a Docker client on my laptop and I have Docker engine somewhere,
Yep.
and those two are communicating, I would say that's the vast majority of what I will ever need.
And that's the key part right there. What you need.
And
Right,
realistically, you need to build images, push images, maybe run containers, compose,
Yeah.
all the stuff. Let's put it this way. You need to be able to execute any Docker CLI command. And then everything else is an added bonus to me.
Yeah. I want to go back one thing on Hermit. Hermit is only Mac OS and Linux, so no Windows there. Colima is only Mac OS. Because you don't need it for Linux, because Linux, you've got all this anyway, magically, right? Easily. You have Docker CD or whatever.
I could argue actually that you don't need it on Linux, but you actually do. Okay. So I would argue that actually, even if I could run containers on my macOS directly on macOS, I know that you cannot do that, but if you could do that, I would still want a virtual machine. Simply, I want the ability to destroy things easily, to restart and all those things. I don't want to hunt down hundreds of containers and which ones I still need, which ones I don't, and stuff. To me, being able to wipe it out is beautiful. And that's what I get with the virtual machine. As long as it's lightweight, I prefer running it in a VM.
VMs are great because you just basically say destroy.
Exactly.
Whatever's in it,
destroy,
gone.
Kind of, I like that create, as long as we're talking about seconds for something to be created, I like create, do something, destroy model for everything. And that includes containers on my laptop.
So Colima is there. In fact, I'm going to pull this up what Moz had here. Lima is getting more popularity now. Yeah, it is.
There is a better option than that, but you will need to wait until Monday after next.
Linux on Mac. Well, there you go. But what you don't have to wait for until Monday after next is a new lens. Did you see what came in this one, Victor?
No. What is it?
Apple Silicon chip support for M1.
Yeah.
Minor. Well, okay, so that's what they lead with, but they're actually using the editor now that is inside of VS Code. They've ripped it around.
Okay, that sounds good.
Right, so they lead with M1 because, hey, why not? Adding and removing clusters, okay, whatever. That's there. But this Monaco editor integration, integrate Monaco editor into Lens, powers VS Code, blah, blah, blah. enhancements for YAML editing. Okay, look, I'm all down for anything that will make YAML editing better. Right? Even though I don't do a ton of container work, I do a lot of YAML work, and just YAML is YAML this year's Jason?
Exactly. I'm completely with you, but I'm very strong. At the same time, I'm very strongly against anybody editing YAML in production
I'm in
or
agreement with
in
that.
live cluster.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not arguing that point. But if I have to edit YAML, I want it to be at least be semi. I was going to say pleasurable, but that sounds wrong because that's
Of
never
course.
pleasurable.
I mean, it's more pleasurable than if you
tolerable.
do nano
Right.
or
Yes.
kubectl edit.
Anyway, handful of other changes, nothing big deal. But the biggest, I think, they push it as the big deal of that in one is there primarily because Electron had to be bumped in order to get to that point. So, welcome to Lens 5.2. Okay. I got through this stuff a lot faster than I expected. Argo CD, Koncrete. What? I haven't even watched this one yet. I've been busy this week.
Basically, somebody, and it's not even clear very much. I mean, I dug it later, but a company, tiny company, made Argo CD as a service, and I like it a lot, mostly because it's Argo CD as a service. Usually companies try to come up with, hey, we're going to have some special layer on top of a product that we are providing as a service, special features. No, this is pure and simple Argo CD that you are not running, somebody else is running for you. It's as easy as that. And I like easy messaging. I like easy kind of like to understand. So no special features, nothing extra. Actually, there is one kind of, except you're saving yourself from setting it up and managing it. Basically, that's what it is.
But Argo CD isn't that painful to set up and manage, right?
It's not painful. I mean, the part, so that one, Koncrete contains Argo CD plus notifications to Slack plus Argo CD image updater, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And now, the order in which I listed is the order of simplicity. Setting up Argo CD extremely easy. Notifications almost. Setting up image updater is pain in the
beep. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's not out of this world. It's not that you're going to spend a week. But theoretically, you could argue that for 95% of software that, hey, what is really hard to set up? Nothing. These days, everything is easy to set up. Everything is one Helm apply away to up and running, right? And we are still using services because, hey, one less thing to worry about. The potential problem with Koncrete is, how to put it, security. Meaning that I need to give them access to my cluster. And now people start screaming, hey, I'm not giving access to anybody. Of course you are giving access to somebody, right? If you're using SaaS, if you're running it in AWS, you're giving access to somebody. You're giving access to AWS, kind of, and so on and so forth, right? But there is a difference between somebody like AWS or Snyk or, companies of having access to your stuff and companies you never heard of. And that's a potential problem. Kind of how many are willing to give some anonymous company, give or take, access to their cluster. Problematic one.
Yep, very problematic. But it's an option, right? If nothing else, it's an option.
Yeah, it's an option, and I know that I will not be using it in cases of real production, but demo situations, I like it. Trying out testing. I mean, also small companies. Realistically, if if you're a small company that uses github.com and not host your own Git, if you're a small company that uses Linode or DigitalOcean, Civo, what's not, and so on and so forth, if you're going for services, then hey, why Prometheus as a service? And I'm inventing now the use case and not Argo CD as a service or anything else.
Yep. I was hoping to get a transition for that. Next Wednesday, we have a special live stream.
Yes.
That I don't know how it's going to go because I'm showing up, but I'm basically producing it. What is this about?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, good. because Costas and Anais, they know what's going on, right?
I doubt.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So we're doing this live stream next week, and the title for this is, where is it? It's below the fold. Why is it below the fold?
The hottest profession.
Yeah, but why am I not seeing it?
It's on the banner. Bottom right.
The hottest profession. Yeah, but I had a title,
Yeah.
and the title's not showing up. Oh, okay, doesn't matter. We're talking about DevRel, or Dev Advocacy, or whatever fill in the blank you want to call. So we're doing this next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. CET. Did I say that right? Yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, because that's what I have down here. So that happens on Wednesday the 15th. If anybody's around, they want to laugh at a bunch of people, it's going to be right here on this channel.
It's
something different.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, you're good. Anis is great. Kostis is great. So kind of like great people, and me.
Well, no, you said I was good and they were great. So that's fine. So you and I are behind the two, and I'm behind you. So that's fine. Again, I'm
you're in front of me. I said good, great, and me. That's kind of like I somehow managed to enter that crowd.
But me is above great. So never mind. Okay, enough of this. So anyway, we have that coming up on Wednesday, and we also have podcasts coming out next Wednesday. And man, it's been one of those weeks, and I'm probably gonna have to drop off here pretty soon. But I do want to go ahead and cover a couple more things here. Like I said, we have the live stream happening on Wednesday. We'll have another one next Friday. That's sort of this normal thing, or at least that's still the plan. What was the other thing you had this week?
The upcoming week.
Upcoming week.
Or this week. What happened or what will happen? Next week.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I cannot.
That's fine.
I cannot anymore.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and bump up. I'm going to do a day job push here for just a second. DevOps World is coming up in a couple of weeks. Victor is going to be there. Virtually, as everybody is. Everybody's virtual this year again. But and if I was smart, I would have gotten my special code so everybody could have signed up with my code, and I could have gotten a yay. But whatever. It is free, so go ahead and sign up for it. The great and powerful Woz is going to be there, and we'll talk more about it next week. But that he's going to be the keynote guy. This should be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that, because Woz is Woz, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can talk about Steve Jobs all day long and his black turtlenecks, but I'm purple because I'm seeing purple over here. But Woz was the nerd.
I must say, when I saw it was a couple of months ago when I saw that he's doing a keynote.
Yep.
I couldn't believe, man, that you pulled it off. It's really amazing. I mean, you cannot not go to a keynote of his keynote. You cannot not do it.
Yep. So you can sign up for it, again, completely free. There are some workshops that happen on Tuesday the 28th. You can look at those. There's a couple of free and a couple of paid. And then Wednesdays when all the keynote stuff happens, or Wednesday 10 a.m., and it's 10 a.m. because I'm Eastern right now. And then it flows through until later in the day. I do know the workshops are working, I believe. Here, let's click over and look at them real quick. I think the workshops, some were working. Let me just keep my mouse shut until it renders. Nope, that's the registration. Where is the list for that? I knew what it was. Here, let's go here. Yeah, so there is one here. They're running a couple of times. So there's one that's more UTC friendly and one that's not so UTC friendly. So this one's got two. The others are just single time slots, I believe. Yeah, the rest of them there's a couple here that are repeated as well. So if there's any workshops here, so let me say it right here at the top. The top two are, I believe, paid. And then the bottoms are all complimentary below that. So where you see complimentary, if any of those look interesting to you, go for it. These are all 90-minute sessions, I believe. So anyway, check on it. September 17th, which is next Friday, will be the last day to do refunds if you did pay for one. And I was trying to find Victor's session. Gee, I wonder what it could be about. Let's see.
Now, the first thing is that I honestly don't know what I submitted.
It's GitOps. What else would it be?
Okay. It could be DevOps. It could be Kubernetes.
This was Argo CD and Catch. So.
Okay.
Again, obviously, you just recorded this, a while back. So it's been a while.
Is it recorded? Yes, I recorded it.
This is recorded.
Okay. Did they send the recording? Somebody would yell at me if I didn't, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if it'd be Alyssa that yells at you or not. I don't think Alyssa could yell at anyone. I don't think that's possible. Alyssa's way too nice. So anyway, DevOpsWorld.com. Go sign up. If I think about it next week, I'll bring my cool sign-up code, and y'all can help me get more than 0 sign-ups. That would be pretty cool. You know what? We do these things. We've both said, and this is the funny thing that will come out next week on the Wednesday stream. Anais is really good technically and very good marketing.
Yes.
Hands
She's
down.
fantastic.
She's fantastic. Yes. Right. Whereas I don't know Costas, so I'm not going to say anything about Costas. You know him. But for the two of us combined, technically we're pretty good. We suck at marketing. Suck at marketing.
It makes me feel proud now for you saying that. Thank you so much.
It's just what we do.
Thank you, Darren. That was the nicest compliment I received in a while.
Do you want me to make it even more? No, I won't take it even further. But yeah, we've gotten better. I mean, we've been doing this now, not in the live stream, but all in on the podcast for 2.5 years, believe it or not. And we're doing okay, but we could do better. But we both have day jobs. This isn't our day job. This is our lunch hour break, right? So that's the reason why you get what you want.
Break.
Your breakfast break. Come on, it's 7 p.m. You don't get that late.
No, yours.
Oh, breakfast? No, this is lunch. Breakfast. Okay. So I have breakfast when you have breakfast. It just happens. My breakfast happens at between 5 and 6 in the morning. Yours happens between noon and 1.
Oh, right? That's before the bed snack. Yes.
Okay. If you haven't signed up in the Slack workspace yet, if you're still here with us live, go down there. And if you're here with us live, go and give us a thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, thanks for hanging out till the craziness at the end. And yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up a little bit early. Oh, there was one question that I saw Moz put in. I wanted to save it a little bit later. I'll bring it up now. Crossplane ready for prod? Any company using it on prod?
Yes.
Now? The answer is yeah.
There are huge companies using Crossplane. And I'm saying huge mostly because from commercial perspective, as a company, we are mostly tracking big companies commercially, and then as a community, we are tracking everybody. But yes, there are big companies. Now, I honestly don't know with whom of those companies we signed the agreement that I can say their name and with whom we didn't. So if you ping me, I can double check who they are. Until then, I cannot say.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I want to say that till the end. Crossplane. In fact, I heard Crossplane talked about today on the most recent episode of Ship It. I know somebody else had been on there about Crossplane, but they were talking about it in context of Equinix Metal, and it was pretty interesting how they were talking about using compositions with the providers for Equinix Metal works. So my question is, and this is one question, and so I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I'm here because I can ask this question live. They were talking about having a cluster that manages other clusters, which is what Crossplane does, right?
Correct. I mean, other.
Yeah, other.
It doesn't have to be cluster. It can be networking.
Whatever.
It
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which was the Equinix Metal example. But who manages the cluster that Crossplane runs in?
If you set it up correctly, Crossplane.
It self-manages itself?
So Crossplane cannot create a cluster where it will run, but it can manage itself.
Okay.
You can set it up. So you need to create a cluster, whichever way you want to create a cluster, right?
Right.
Outside of Crossplane. You install Crossplane, and then you apply the manifest with few special rules so that it knows that, hey, so you want me to manage a cluster? I already found that cluster. Is there anything that I should change? No. It's similar to Argo CD, right? Or Flux.
There's a bootstrap set.
Yeah, you need to install them somehow, one way or another, and then you can say, and now continue managing yourself by looking for those same definitions that you used initially in somewhere, some Git repository or whatever.
Okay. I was just thinking, is like, who watches the watcher, right? Because at some point, and then who watches the watcher that's watching?
But it's not that simple, though.
It's not. I know.
So I'm not what I said is not 100% true. What I said can be easy or hard, depending on where you're running your cluster. And the potential problem comes from providers who do not allow you to name resources. So, for example, if you create a GKE cluster, you call that GKE cluster X, and then you install Crossplane, and you feed Crossplane with a manifest that defines cluster with the name X. That's it, right? From there on, it will manage itself. But if you go to AWS, for example, AWS does not allow you to name VPCs. Names are auto-generated,
right?
And some other resources. So that can be a bit tricky.
Right. Okay.
Complications of the provider itself. Why would somebody not allow you to name resources is beyond my comprehension, to be clear.
Because that should just be a tag that's associated to the ID, right?
I mean, then we use tricks. Like you can have a tag, a label, and stuff like that, but those are all kind of like workarounds.
Or does it get to the point to where it's like S3, that there can only be one bucket named XYZ in the whole of AWS?
Yeah, I mean, but it's not that, right? That's similar to like resource group in Azure needs to be uniquely named. You cannot have same name of a resource group as somebody else anywhere in the world, right?
Right.
But it is a name.
Yes.
You just cannot name it if it's not unique. In AWS, some resources, not all, simply do not have a name. Doesn't matter whether it has to be unique or not. It doesn't have a name.
So one more thing that I didn't catch. You're back home. Are you home for good now? Okay, so holidays are over.
Yeah, I will be going there, but weekends mostly.
Yeah. Must be nice. Okay.
It's kind of like it's last days of summer. There is no more pool time. Why would I be there?
So I just can't. I still need to take a look at a map and figure out what your latitude is compared to mine, because I don't think you're very much north of me, if at all. So I don't understand why you can't stay in the pool until December. It just doesn't make sense.
Because when it goes below acceptable temperature of water, I cannot be in it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Now the real question is, how can you be in the freezing water and how I cannot be in the freezing water and you can? No, that's a valid question.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with latitude.
No, I guess so. Just like me waking up at 4 a.m. and
Exactly.
you're going to bed at 4 a.m, which I can't do and you can't do. So it's just the way it goes.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us today. We will talk to you again on Wednesday. Don't forget, Wednesday. The link to that show will be down in the description as well tomorrow. Or you can just go out to the channel. It's showing up in the live streams playlist right now, so you can go and set a reminder there as well. And I hear he has another meeting. So it's time for us to go. See
The
everybody.
quick answer to most, no. You don't need multiple crossplanes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just saw that. I was on a different page getting ready to close it out right about now.